Coach Phipps, this is it. Pac-12 Championship Week, and the Cougars are hosting. Tell me a little bit about the course at Colfax. You've run it a couple of times, haven't you? Will this give the Cougars an advantage at all?
I'm certainly hoping so. We've spent a lot of time out there on the course. We figured we're probably run maybe 150 miles worth of running on that course. So we should know it pretty well. We're very ready. The course looks great. It runs very, very well. So I'm very excited.
What do you like about that 2,000 meter loop that you've put together out there?
Well, I think it accomplishes a lot. So one, it's very runner friendly. But two, it's very spectator friendly. You can be in the middle of the course and see absolutely the entire course. For the coaches, they can easily get to the split marks, the 1 and 2K marks, maybe going only about 100 meters apart. So it really works in everyone's favor.
What do you do during a championship race as a coach? I mean, haven't you already prepared them before they get there? What are you doing right then?
Well, I joke around a little bit. I think most of the cheering and yelling that the coaches do, it's for themselves more than it is for the athletes. There's we have a little bit of a race strategy going in, and it's really more of a reminder through certain checkpoints in the race. Knowing where they are in the race, knowing when they need to make a move and things like that. But yeah, ultimately, once they're out there, we can only do so much, and I have a lot of faith in this group to get it done.
So this is the start of the championship season. Pac-12 championships, and then in 2 weeks NCAA West Regionals, and then hopefully we advance on to the NCAA. They've run a lot of miles. Probably got little pains and aches everywhere. Does that go away knowing that this is the conference championship?
This weekend it definitely goes away. I think all the little aches and pains and maybe lingering little sniffles and stuff like that. Everyone is so excited, and we are rested for the first time going into our race. So I think all the recovery is in place. So we're looking for a great performance.
I was going to ask you about that. You came off the PreNationals, good showing by the Cougars, both the men and the women. But then, how do you cater to ramp up again in 2 weeks for another big race?
So on our off week, we bump back up a little bit in volume intensity, not like we would be, in our peak part of our training, but a little bit more, and then that allows us to back off on this week a little bit and not lose anything for West Regionals and then for Nationals.
I've told some people about seeing your athletes in the weight room, and they're kind of stunned by that. Why would they need to be in the weight room? What did the track and especially the distance runners get out of working out of the weight room?
Well, a couple of things. There actually is some performance benefits. We can be more efficient and more explosive as an athlete. And you think, well, do you need to be that explosive of an athlete as a distance runner? But a little bit. Being quick off the ground allows us to be a little more efficient. So it's very much performance related from that standpoint. We're also very interested in making sure injury prevention is a key thing too. And some of the specific work that we do in the weight room really helps with that.
Let's look a little bit at the conference as a whole. Who is the expected team winner on the men's side, or who will be competing for that team title?
Well, it's hard to go against Colorado, defending national champions and number one in the nation. But this conference is so deep and so competitive that even being off by a little bit can cause teams to drop not just one place, but 4 or 5.
And then what about on the women's side?
Again, I think Colorado has to be in the mix, but it's, I think, another very competitive battle. The University of Oregon as a very strong team as well. But the depth, again, on the women's side is equal to the men's.
I know that you want your athletes to do their best, but do you set individual goals for each student athlete, or do you work with them on what they've set as their goal for this Friday?
We have specific goals that we'd like to accomplish as a team, and relying on people to do certain things to help us achieve those team goals. But there'll be some individual goals that I've worked with each athlete that they have some tangible goals at the beginning of the year in terms of what place they'd like to be, how fast they would like to be able to run on the course.
So let's talk a little bit about scoring. This is like golf. Low score wins.
Correct, yes.
So you will enter or have 10 athletes racing, but how many will score?
Well, 5 score, but the 6th and 7th runners are still very, very important because they can displace. So if they finish in front of anyone in the top 5 from another team, it actually bumps those runners down. So there is an absolute benefit to having quality through 6 and 7, but it seems like most of the races come down to the performance of your 5th runner, not to put any pressure on anyone's 5th runner, but that seems to be a strong correlation. So depth is really a key.
And you've got young people on both sides, men's and women's side. How have they developed through this season?
I think really well. You know, on the men's side, we've really had to rely on our freshmen, and outside of the freshmen, we're still very, very young in the men's. We have 1 junior, 2 sophomores, and the rest of the team is freshmen essentially. I'm running out there this weekend, but they've responded very, very well. They knew the expectations going in and have really just bought into everything and been performing outstandingly.
Well, we're excited for Friday. Men's race starts at 10:30, women 11:35. Free admission, so no excuse for nobody not to come out to the Colfax Golf Club and cheer on the Cougars.
That's right. Thank you very much, and go Cougs.